hypnosis and hypnotherapy, we'll be discussing a very key and quintessential element of living a sane life, which is knowing how to relax, and not just knowing about it, but actually doing it.
Being
Especially,
good, being good at it, I would say.
how can we get good at relaxing? This is a very wonderful topic to explore. Why don't we dive right in? Albert, tell us, how can we get good at relaxing?
I want to start just with one point, just to begin, though. People often ask me, getting into hypnosis or becoming a hypnotherapist or a hypnotist, how did that change you? And I would say that it changed me in a fundamental way, in that I became internally much calmer because my job is to pursue calm and relaxation.
Albert, your audio just cut out in the middle of a sentence.
Oh, I think
But I there and now you're back. I've had a very much same experience as you. Once I started exploring hypnosis and hypnotherapy from the client end and then having such phenomenal experience, I'm like, okay, this is my career now. A huge, huge benefit was feeling like my inner strength is actually strong. And that strength chooses groundedness, calm, relaxation, letting things go, and focusing on what's important.
so. But now I do want to try to answer your question, which was a good question. How do you relax? And so there's a really basic principle that now, scientific evidence supports, which is that roughly speaking, we probably have more. We have two nervous systems, sympathetic, parasympathetic. They, like everything in medicine, they are kind of misnamed. People think, oh, the sympathetic must be the nice one. No, sympathetic is fight or flight. It's terror. It's heart beating, nervous tension. The parasympathetic is the good one. I call it the Bob Marley nerve.
Oh, there's no good or bad here.
Right, right, right. It's good in terms of you kind of want to be in your parasympathetic nervous system.
Unless you're in extreme duress or there is an imminent threat. Then you want that sympathetic nervous system. That is your friend.
We should explain that in our society, we're often triggered. Like a good example would be driving in traffic, which shouldn't be a death, it's not a near death experience, but we experience it often in our sympathetic nervous system where we are honking our horn or getting really nervous or really anxious as if we are under tremendous threat. And so that's an example of why you are not relaxed, why many people in this culture are not relaxed, driving in traffic, looking at your internet now. I think right now there's a trend towards seeing, social media as stress inducing. It used to be kind of fun. Now it's more stress inducing. I'm talking about a general trend. It's still fun, but it's also stress inducing.
It's beyond a trend. It's the engineered trap that we were all in, like the quicksand we all feared when we were children watching cartoons, like the quicksand, and the more I struggle to get out, it just keeps sucking me back in. Like, this is what social media is engineered to be. I want to get out of it, and here I am online. It's like, but we need it, because what about we're building a thing? People need to know what we're up to in the world and how we can help them and how they can help us, and whoa, it's the only place to be. That's how it's a trap. But it is engineered to make us insane, where we're constantly misjudging what reality is from the extreme of, this is completely artificial intelligence generated slop crap. But I think, oh, those funny jumping on that trampoline, and it was so cute. And that golden retriever saved that baby from that bear. That really happened. I saw it. It's completely just not real. To even like right now, I'm using a filter because it's cuter. Obviously, I want to look my best. But some 13-year-old girl might flick onto here and see me and every other woman just like looking like, oh, my nose and my, and then she ends up with an eating disorder at 13, right? This is how this is making us insane. So relaxing gives us access to deliberate choices. When we're just going, and it's happening, and I'm swiping, and there's sounds, and like, I like to describe a cell phone as a box of flashing lights and sounds. Like, it's, if you gave this to a person from 200 years ago and showed them what we do with it all day, they would, I mean, literally, people would have like
Crazy.
anxiety attacks and run away from it. I'm sure that you are familiar with the first ever movie that was screened in a theater. Of course, you are. You're a filmmaker. And it was the train coming down the tracks. And
Right.
people who had never seen a moving
It
picture
jumped.
before, they jumped and they ran over.
Yeah.
If we were to
Yeah.
hand any of our cell phones to a person from 200 years ago and they're like, look, I just like swipe constantly and it's like 2 seconds of a song and then 2 seconds of a song from a completely different genre with different instruments and a different rhythm and beat and everything, and then like 5 seconds of this other thing, and then it's people talking like, hey guys, blah blah blah, and then it's like people who look different and sound different, and there's all these colors flashing, blah, blah, blah. It would be epilepsy inducing for a normal healthy person from even 1 century ago, and this is like what we're all living in because human beings are a highly adaptive species. We've adapted to function in this, but are we thriving when we're blasting our nervous systems, our eyes, our ears with all this chaos? No, of course we're not thriving. We're adapting and functioning. But this is why we're all aware that like it seems like we're on the decline as a species. We're not. People used to like have like hobbies like woodworking, and now it's like, what'd you do after work? Scrolled my phone.
Yeah. If I can elaborate, there's like some specific trends, I think, that to explain it. Look, I don't want to say that this is the end of the world or that social media is the end of the world, but there are some specific trends that are resulting in the corrosion of calm within people. And the number one I would think is that social media causes and is designed to create jealousy. When you get on social media, I think Facebook is sometimes worse, but maybe Instagram as well. It's designed to show you people that seem to be living better lives than you. Look at me, I'm in Costa Rica. Look at me, I'm having a great time with my friends. And it actually sort of champions those things. Now, some of these are what's wrong with people really celebrating their great moments? Nothing. But when you are wake up in the morning and you're not in a position to sort of like figure that out, that creates a sense that, oh, maybe I'm a big loser compared to all these wonderful people that have amazing lives. And I think that's the first way. The second way, go ahead. I know you're going to say something.
Yeah, I'm gonna say we all know that, right? So we don't want to beat this dead horse. We really want to turn our focus to having the agency within yourself to make a choice to even for 1 second, and I mean that literally, one Mississippi. I coach people who are asking me, how can I develop a meditation practice? I coach people all the time. Start with a single minute. I can't meditate. I can't sit for 20 minutes. My mind is going. I'm like, can you do 60 seconds? Let's do it right now. I'll do it with you right now. I've done this to a bunch of people when this conversation. Let's start right now. Just put your feet on the floor, put your hands on your lap, put your eyes down. I'm going to set a timer on my phone for 60 seconds. Just stay still. I like that you're going into it. If you start with 60 seconds, because if you can't give yourself 60 seconds, who are you living for? 60 seconds. And just choose. You don't even have to, but now I'm going to focus my breath. You don't even have to do that. Just don't move a muscle for 60 seconds. And Siri is a helpful companion in this task. Hey, Siri, set a timer for 1 minute. Then put your phone down and just close your eyes. Just keep your body still. You don't have to worry about control your breathing or repeat a mantra. That's advanced level. We're just doing 1 minute of a stillness. And that minute gives you access to making a choice of what you do in the next minute, instead of it just being this continuous stream of I'm going. A 60-second reset is where do I want to go at second 61.
I would add to that when you create calm, you exercise calm, meaning you are exercising the part of you that stays calm throughout the day. So the more you practice it, the calmer you become. maybe to loop back too is that when you do this, you create parasympathetic or calm and relaxed breathing. And when you do that, you are feeling more calm and relaxed. Hormones are different, everything is different. So I should point out, like in terms of tips, because we like to offer tips, is that there are now breath work exercises on YouTube. Because I am one of those people too who often feels like I just don't have time to meditate. But there's a theory that breath work is getting people to accelerated meditation. It has to be the good kind of breath work, but these very sometimes intense states of breath work produce the same states of deep meditation, but you get there in 10 minutes. I know some meditators will scoff, but I think it's wonderful that these things are available, and they might work for some people and not for others. But there's one great YouTube site, Breathwork Beats. There's Breathwork with Sandy, Breathwork with Kalela. Those are all really great places to get into these intense states. So you don't need to say, I need an hour so I can meditate. You can say, I need 15 minutes or even 10 minutes, and you can get to a meditative
Well,
state.
what I'm saying is even 1 minute, because here on the Staying
Yeah.
Sane podcast, how to relax. Step one, make a choice. I'm going to relax now, but I can't. I don't even have a minute to relax. You have to do it. You have 60 seconds. Pretend you're going to the bathroom. Sit on the toilet with the lid closed for 60 seconds and take that for yourself and choose. I'm relaxing for 60 seconds today. When you make it, I love what you said. You're exercising, calm, going to the gym. If I literally never leave my couch, and these people do exist, the state of the body gets very ill very quickly. That person needs to start with, you just got to walk to the front of your house and back. You've been sitting still for 16 years just watching TV, and these like extreme cases, I'm thinking like ABC, reality TV, and these people are just like, they don't leave the chair, and they're like waited on by their enabler, and it's like, so you don't start by running a marathon. You start by just walking around the house and then taking the stairs, and slowly you're like, oh right, I can come into this. I wasn't supposed to be in that sick way. I was meant for health, and all I need to do is use my body and my systems and my natural intelligence the way that I was born to do so, and health is there for me. And the choice of I'm going to relax is just like that. If you're never relaxed, you're always anxiety and I can't sleep at night and I'm up. Okay, you need to start with the equivalent of just walking back and forth to the street and back to your couch. Little things, little things.
Sort of a slogan for what you're saying, become unflappable, as in become unflappable. The idea that as life throws you challenges and stresses, your challenge, what you want to be, is not only not bothered by those threats and challenges, turning some of those threats and challenges into calming exercises. And like, I'll give you an interesting example. One of the things you want to do in life, and this is one thing when people come to me and they have anxiety and stress, the first thing you sort out, from my experience, is the breathing. So there's really clear research that shows that people that tend towards high anxious states are not breathing well. And I'll give you examples. They tend to focus on the breath in. Somewhere along the line, maybe consciously or unconsciously, someone told them they need to breathe, which can be actually bad advice. And so what they do is they focus on, oh, I'm having a stressful moment. I better breathe in. And when you focus on breathing in and not on breathing out, which actually is counterintuitive, you actually make yourself more anxious. And when you focus on breathing out calmly and in a relaxed way, as opposed to breathing in, you make yourself more relaxed. Breathing out is where the action is. Breathing in is where the anxiety is. And so it sounds weird because we think, oh,
I'm going to argue this. I'm not in agreement.
Let me,
Breathing in is where the anxiety is. No, dude, I'm taking a delicious breath in right now.
but what I'm saying is that the emphasis on breathing in will actually generally make you anxious. Yet breathing in with a good breath out makes you calm. So I know why you're disagreeing, because of course that's the obvious thing. We need oxygen, but we know that you should be worried about getting oxygen as best you can. But let me show you relaxed breathing. Relaxed breathing, by definition, they've done the science, is called, it works in a 7-11 proportion, meaning 7 seconds roughly in, 11 seconds roughly out. Those, you can, that's the rough proportion. And when you breathe in that proportion, you are calmer. But if I go, oh, I'm going to really breathe in, you see how that is anxiety inducing?
Very well demonstrated. Owen asks this question. Owen is asking, what if I have anxiety on the breath in and out?
Oh, okay. Well,
I've got an answer.
that's okay. Go ahead. You answer.
My answer is don't judge your breathing. So this demonstration that Albert just gave of like somewhere in the mind, there's this understanding, this false understanding that just doing this isn't good enough. Like I have to do it better. I have to do it more. Just even a little bit is enough. You're still breathing. So slow it down and just let the breath be whatever it is. It's like this, it's like this, it's like that, it's like this. I'm breathing. And it doesn't, this is like, just strip it of any meaning. If you're having anxiety on the breath in and out, focus just on the breath. There is no, I'm having anxiety while I'm doing X. Just focus on doing X. Let their thoughts, the feelings, the reactions, the judgments, they're in the peripheral, but you're focused on.
But I would add what you're doing right now. Like I actually, in a way, though I disagree slightly. I think it is worth it to actually use a technique. And the technique is simply, if you have anxiety in and out, the technique is simply slow your outward breath. The more you slow your outward breath, almost the better. And I'll give you some interesting evidence. There was a really amazing.
I like it. It's a better answer than mine.
There was a really interesting study done in Belgium. I think it hasn't been replicated, but it's intriguing, where they studied people who had anxiety. What they did is they did the math about how they breathe. So they actually broke down the structure of the person's breathing. And you know what they found out? What was amazing was that anxious people had precise math to their breathing. They had more emphasis on breathing in and less emphasis on breathing out.
Mm-hmm.
So, and here's the really interesting.
Switching it created benefit.
Right. Not only that, but here's the really weird part. They figured out this mathematical formula. Then they brought in a bunch of volunteers and they said, can you breathe according to this mathematical formula? And what they found out was that people who did not have anxiety, guess what happened to them when they breathed?
Got anxiety.
They developed anxiety. And it was only, can I say only again? Only the breathing. Can I say only again? Only
the breathing.
So this is why I say change your breathing, change your life. And a lot of people are like, I don't know. It seems too obvious. So I say, yeah, the obvious answers are really good.
Yeah.
They're good.
Yeah. I want to thank Owen for your question. Thank you. We love when people engage with us and are listening and watching, and we're here to answer questions to the best of our ability as two professionals in this incredibly fascinating and wisdom-rich field of hypnosis, hypnotherapy, and the magic of the subconscious mind. When I was at the World Happiness Festival 2024, I was a presenter there. And one of the other presenters was this woman, stunning, gorgeous, 10 out of 10, like radiant beauty. Okay. Radiant beauty. I thought she was, she seemed a little older than me, but just a woman, like an adult woman. Okay. Nothing particular about her age. She's here to talk about conscious breathing. That's her topic. She gets on stage. She says, I am a mother of 8 children and I have, I think, 17 grandchildren. And immediately I'm like, whatever this woman tells me to do, I'm doing it. She looked so fucking good. And that woman has that much offspring that she has brought into this world, literally sucking the life out of her. That's what babies do. They suck life out of our tits. And here's this woman just like, I'm gorgeous, I'm radiant, I'm healthy, I'm happy, my family is well. I'm like, what's your secret? She's like, breathing. It's what I'm here to talk about. So
well, what was her secret to breathing would be my question. What was her?
The crux of it, the main gist of it is belly breathing. Breathing deeply into your body, really breathing deeply into. I mean, if you're someone who understands the chakra system, will think we really want to take breaths that are touching all the chakras. You want at least the touch of breath felt at all of your wheels of energy throughout the that spinal verticality. But if you just want to think about it as breathing deeply into your belly, start there.
I can give another explanation too, is that I remember when I was a kid, and like we live in a culture which favors shallow breathing because people think you've got to breathe in through your chest. So they go, oh, breathe in through your chest. But you actually should breathe in through your belly. That's when you think about it, if you want to breathe better, breathe from your belly, from lower in your belly, in fact. And I remember when I was a kid, the point of this story is that I was a kind of a skinny kid, but we just didn't care about our bellies sticking out. You just walk around with your belly sticking out because you're 7 or 9. But there was this culture in this apartment complex I lived in where if people saw you with your belly sticking out, they would whack you in the belly. It was like seen as a thing, and it was a very common thing. Like,
You're
don't let
saying
your
adults would do this to children?
not so much adults, but other kids would do it to other
Children
kids.
did this to other children, just
Yeah.
smack you in the belly.
But I think it reflected a kind of cultural bias that you shouldn't let your belly stick out. But actually, healthy people, and it's interesting, kung fu masters in particular, their bellies naturally extend because they do so much diaphragmatic breathing.
Mm.
And all I'm saying is that I grew up belly phobic. I'm very uncomfortable with my own belly. And I had
Most
when
of us, I think that's true for most people. Mhm.
yeah, I had to learn to like love my belly because I kind of hated my belly and thought it was something that deserved to be hit. And so part of becoming a good breather was me going, "Hey, belly, I love you. I love you, and you're okay, and you keep me alive, and thank you." Belly breathing is a wonderful thing. And so that's a key part of, because we're talking about how to relax. If you indulge in, not indulge would be the wrong word, but if you allow and encourage your own belly breathing, you will become more relaxed. It's just the way it works. Um,
Yes, that is a nice key takeaway that anybody can use right now. Put it in your pocket and keep it for the rest of your life. And I hear you touching on something much deeper than these. Like, here's a quick tip, just extend your exhale, breathe a little deeper into the belly. You'll find that just with that, anybody, anywhere can increase that feeling of calm relaxation within the body. Yes. And what you've just touched on speaks to this anxiety type of person who just doesn't know how to relax. Often, not always, but maybe always, there's this lack of safety, the feeling that I'm not safe. And if you don't feel safe inside of your own body, which is what you just kind of touched on, that's the primary place where you exist. Wherever else you happen to be, you're first inside of your body. So creating the body as a place that is at least I'm safe here, and I'm, if not having a wonderfully loving relationship with my body, we're at least cool, we're on good terms, we're figuring it out, we're working it out. I know I'm learning to trust my body and my body is learning to trust me. That's really key. And I think it's easy to gloss over because it's so primary that it's overlooked because there's other stuff on top of it. But stripping it all down, do you feel safe in the world and in yourself? And when the answer is no, that's where we got to go.
Can I give you an interesting example of that, which is that I would say that when I have clients who've never done hypnotherapy or therapy before, what I find that we end up doing very quickly is this idea I would call getting on the same team. Often people are at war with different parts of themselves, and many people are at war with their own bodies, where they're not happy with their legs or hips or nose or face or belly, in my case. And so that being at war with your own body definitely makes you stressed and uncomfortable and unsafe. And when you transition, which you can, to a state of, I want to feel safe, sorry, I want to accept and I love because I can't throw out my body and get another one. You have to be on the same team. You are on the same team. You know, you got to be on the same team. And when you decide to,
And that's too many words. You are the same team. You're
right.
one and the same with your body here on planet Earth. Yes, we have, we can have the argument around immortal souls, but without a body, you're not here on Earth living this lived experience called your life. So you're not even on the same team. You're the same. You and your body for the purpose of your wellness.
I just heard a new study. I just saw this on this exact subject that is kind of fascinating. That there's a study done with people who talk to their own bodies.
Mm-hmm.
So people that say things like, "Hey, legs, hey, how you doing today?" Or "Hey, face, you're looking good." Or "Hey, belly, I'm really glad you're breathing so well." That actually works. That
Yes,
and
sir.
it makes sense. I didn't do that before I saw the study, but now I can tell you that I am. I find it works. It's like intriguing. Talking to your body,
Yeah, and saying thank you to your body.
which does sound weird. And your friend, there's some people would wonder like why you're if they walked in on you talking to your body, they might feel weird. But you can say it in your head too. You don't you can do it in your head, and it's
Well,
effective.
Albert, personally, I believe in leading by example, and I take pride in doing very weird and unusual things in public because I feel that people need to see. For example, there is a beautiful springs here called Juniper Springs, or is that what it's called? No, it's called Wakaiba Springs. uh, it's an attraction here in Central Florida for families. Um, it's very beautifully done inside of a state park. And I went there one day and I sat right in the thick of where all the people are, which is kind of around like the main swimming pool, the natural swimming pool that's there. And just like off the path, there was a little ledge, and I sat there and I went into meditation. And I was meditating pretty seriously. I was like really getting into it, but I was doing eyes open meditation, which I love. I actually prefer eyes open meditation more than eyes closed meditation a lot of the time. So I was doing eyes open meditation in a very public space, where people are like running around with pool noodles and like, flippers, snorkeling and stuff like that. And I'm just sitting there like this. And I thought people were looking at me, and the most beautiful looks were from children. I like kids were looking at me like, wow, what's happening? But adults were looking at me like, what's going on over there? And in both cases, I thought there is this idea that meditation is something we do behind closed doors, or it has to be like I'm lighting candles and saging a space and saying prayers. No, it's just sitting still and being in stillness and clearing your mind. Being an example of that in a public space is an honor. So if I got up and I said, "Great job, legs. Thanks for keeping me comfortably seated," I would do something like that. And then I'd wave to the strangers who heard me, and then I'd walk away. I like being this weirdo in the world. I do.
Maybe we get as one of our tips, be okay with being a weirdo in the world. Uh, but yeah, I was gonna suggest we should suggest some actionable tips because that's what we meant to do.
How
Uh,
to relax. Breathe
how
in
to,
your belly, extend the exhale.
but
There is.
let me give you another one, which is that when people do, it's interesting to watch people go into hypnotic trance because everybody who goes into deep hypnotic trance relaxes. It's an unconscious phenomena. It is very powerful. It's super powerful. It just happens, and it's worth seeing what happens. So what those people do is their breathing slows. So let me say it a better way. If you watch somebody go into deep trance, you've got a great example and model for how to relax. This is what happens when people go into trance. One is they sigh. They go like this, right, releasing stress and worry. They slow down. Their breathing starts to slow. Their eyes may half lid, where their eyes get kind of half closed, and they even close their eyes. And there is some limpness to in the case of deep trance, their muscles go very limp, but allowing your muscles to go limp actually makes you more relaxed as well.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I was going to say the next tip is that there's a bunch of riddles around these things. One of the riddles is some people think when I am stressed, they can feel the tension in their body. They feel like, oh, my muscles are all contracted and I'm all squeezing and I can't let them go. One of the weird tricks that a lot of people don't know is that if you tighten your muscles deliberately, which sounds counterintuitive, and then release them, you get much more release. This turns out also to be helpful for going to sleep. That if you, right before you go to sleep, if you have trouble falling asleep, it's actually a good idea to tighten your muscles.
Hold it as much as you can. Really squeeze, really like squeeze all your knuckles together, squeeze everything in, squeeze your butt, squeeze your ears, squeeze everything, and then
Exactly. Exactly. And that actually triggers sleep tendencies in most people. It's a really good way to position yourself for deep sleep. Yeah, I'm just going to take a nap. So next tip. I have more, but maybe you. Sorry, did you want to suggest one?
sure, I've got my cat. I'm just gonna get him out of here because he's annoying me. He's so cute though. I love him. I do like havening.
Mm.
Um, havening is so simple. You can teach it to a preschooler, and you should if you have a preschooler in your life, or maybe they're like, "Why I don't want to go to school?" Like, if you get nervous at school, just do this.
Havening to me is a fancy way of saying hug yourself. It's basically hug yourself.
But
Um,
hugging yourself can be a squeeze, which is also good. But havening is specifically this stroking down the upper arms cross here.
yeah.
There's
And part of the
also
idea is to stroke down your nervousness or tension is part of the idea as
you
well.
want it rhythmic and you want like a light appropriate touch. Not like you're not put me attention. No, it's just a rhythmic, consistent, gentle caress. And that immediately soothes the nervous system. Now there are other ways to do havening. I think one is like down the face or something like this, but my go-to is this one. And it's not something I even every time I mention it, like with a client, and I example it like I'm doing right now, every single time without fail, I'm like, why don't I do this more? I don't like this. It's some kind of like, is that it's so good. As soon as you start, look, why does this feel so good? Yes, remember havening, take it, use it, calm yourself and relax yourself. And when you relax and make the choice, I'm going to take this moment and do this, or breathe more deeply into my belly and my exhale, or do any example thing that you can do to relax yourself, which will continue to give you a few more today. I really want to highlight feeling good about yourself for making the choice in service of yourself. I'm allowed to say, I'm proud of myself that I'm doing it. I'm proud of myself for acknowledging I was kind of spiraling and I chose to pause and breathe or take a walk or stroke my arms. I think that that's really where we start to compound and multiply the effects of little tips on how to ultimately relaxation, being calm and in body, mind, and connected with your spirit is ultimate well-being, right? To feel that I'm making choices and I'm speaking, acting, and even listening from a place of calm relaxation and ultimately a sense of security that I am safe in the world. I'm safe enough to choose relaxation. That's magic. Now, our access into this magic through many different things, but you have to choose to use these tips and strategies. And if you're really like, no, this isn't going to cut it for me, then book a session. If you know I'm way too far gone, I can't do it on my own. You don't have to. We're here. Just book a session. We'll start to go right deeply into the subconscious mind, clear away what's been holding me back, and then giving you more resources internally to make the smart choices to keep yourself moving in that direction with the support of your own inner resources.
I would say that it's one of these discovery in life. We make discoveries. You got to wear a belt. You got to, brush your hair. But one of the also the big discoveries is that you need a calming practice. I don't know anybody who's actually calm who doesn't have a calming practice, meaning they either do meditation or breath work or long walks or swimming, or they have practices that keep them calm. This world is going to agitate you. This world is going to make you stressed and nervous. If you don't have a grounding practice, a calming practice, you will get stressed. And so I think that's basically what you're saying. Accept that you might need some skills in this area. And actually, these skills are all kind of wonderful and magical. They're not usually a waste of time. And people have found ones that are less demanding, are less crazy. You don't have to meditate for 3 hours. You don't have to haven for an hour. You can just do hello. You can just do is it your cat? You hug your cat. Yes, of course. Hug your cat is a great tip for relaxation. Um,
Really?
it does look very relaxing. Such a cute cat. Um, and yeah, so okay, now I was going to get into more of the heavy hitters too, because worth mentioning
Let's
them.
do it. Heavy
Okay.
artillery.
One of the heavy hitters is EFT, and EFT is a known complement to hypnotherapy. It goes along well. So EFT, also called emotional freedom technique, and also tapping, is something that I believe almost everybody should learn. Unless you are absolutely calm all the time, you need to tap. Why? There's a theory that there's a design flaw. There are a few design flaws in the human brain, as miraculous as it is. And one of the problems with the human brain is that when you get worked up and when you get nervous about stuff, you can't let it go. So you've probably experienced this where something made you anxious and then you kind of solve the problem, but you still feel anxious. And that is because your brain does not let anxious states go easily. Sometimes people cannot sleep after an anxious event, even though it's semi-resolved or resolved. So, what EFT does, EFT is a system where you tap on acupressure points. It has scientific evidence, supporting it, that you tap on acupressure points and that releases the fear brain to let go of whatever is making you worried and anxious. And so EFT is a technique that I recommend. You can find lots of YouTube videos. I teach it to people. It's great to learn. It is a complement to other practices. And you can even do it with invisibly. Once you learn how to do it, you can just sit there, like I can do it right now, and I can tap on my acupressure points and I can feel it relaxing me. Invisible.
Um, I do tapping from time to time, but for me, it's not what I would call a heavy hitter. But for you, it is, and that's wonderful. That's why we want to offer a whole menu of things. Find the one you like the best, and just go with that. There's no right or wrong. There's no better or worse. There's what works for you and what works less well for you. Just find what works for you and do that, and make that choice, and keep getting yourself into those higher, more elevated ways and states of being. I would say it's important to articulate for some people when you're feeling anxious or anxiety or just worked up or super stressed out, the calming, take a breath, for example, do tapping is kind of in the middle. It's what inspired me to say this. But some people want to just be still and breathe and go inward, and that's relaxing. Some people need to express it, shake it out, blast the radio, scream along. That was me screaming along with, like, I'm the type of person actually. So this comes from my personal experience. People wouldn't guess this about me, but I will tell you, it happens less and less now because I have this, inner strength that I've been developing through all of this work and all these practices over these years. But still, if I'm like really worked up about something and like the negative emotion is like charging, what I like to do is go into my car and put on some of the music that I listened to as a teenager, which would classify as like either hardcore music or like even screamo music. So there's like this band Atreyu, where they're just like ripping like I will blast that in my car and I will just feel it. And the reason it's calming for me is because I am no longer the most intense thing in the space. That music is even more intense than I am. And it allows me to experience myself in the contrast instead of
Love that.
I'm so tense, I'm so worked up, and now I have to bring myself down. If I'm with something more intense than me, I'm not even identifying as the intensity anymore. I'm the calm thing next to this, and now I'm the calm. And now I can go deeper into that.
I
And
like
that's
that.
an important thing to understand. Are you the type of person who goes immediately from I identify that I'm in a worked up state and I want to relax, I will breathe into it and relax it directly? Or do you respond best to relaxation by first dispelling or discharging that energy of anxiety or negative emotion? And then once it's dispelled, going into a relaxation practice.
Yeah. Um, I really actually like that. I would also call that, there's a sort of addendum to that technique, which is called changing the channel, which is that sometimes, people often, when they are feeling anxious, they're trying to solve a problem because our brains are problem solving machines. So trying to solve some problem and they're not necessarily able to solve it right then and there. And so they get worked up and they get more anxious, cortisol, stress, etc. And then if you just flip the channel, like, okay, accept the fact that you're not solving this problem, sit in the car or do whatever, play heavy metal music, or go for a walk. It's why going for a walk is so good. Then you change the channel, and it's okay to change the channel. And I think you actually mentioned something I feel like I could add to in an interesting way. I have noticed, this is from personal experience, that it is important to name your state, meaning you don't always know that you're anxious and you just feel like something is wrong. But it's really helpful to go, hey, I think I'm feeling anxiety. That's what I think I'm feeling. Name it. I'm feeling anxiety. Then take appropriate measures. But there needs to be some awareness. You have to have awareness that that you're feeling this before you can move on. So first step is I'm feeling that something's wrong. Second step is now I'm aware that something's wrong and I'm just feeling anxious. Now I can do something. When I do something, I take different steps. It can be as simple as breathing differently, or your change the channel approach. But there's sort of there's a sequence of events by which you exit the anxious state. And it's good to notice that you have exited the anxious state. It's good to know that's a real victory for you when you are no longer anxious.
Sure. Um, that's all true and well and good. Before we close here today, I want to talk about the misunderstanding, um, where, for example, I was raised in a household where my mom would say, I just want to relax. And so she'd turn on the TV and quote unquote veg out. And vegging out in front of the TV, which now in 2026 is involves scrolling on phones. It's like I'm relaxing. This is relaxing for me. And from a professional perspective, no, it's not.
Yes,
You
just know
can
it's
think that it is, and you can argue that for you, no, but for me, this is how I relax. This is how you tell yourself you're relaxing, but from a physiological, neurological, and psychological standpoint, no, you're not. So if you want to stick with your opinion, have a great day. But if you want to actually experience deeper levels of sincere and authentic relaxation in body and mind, it's not watching TV and scrolling your phone.
By the way, and I would add to that, what people who think that vegging out in front of TV is relaxing don't know is that there are profound levels of relaxation. There is an infinite, in fact, level of relaxation. There's no end to how relaxed you can become. And that's like something that you might want to pursue, profound, deep relaxation. That it's an endless quest. It's something you never arrive at the moment of pure relaxation. You can always be more relaxed. It's really an amazing thing. And that is what hypnosis opened up for me. I don't think I understood that before. And
Same.
that, It is worthy of a lifelong pursuit. How can I be more relaxed? How can I be more calm? Um,
Mhm. Yeah,
and
because with calm also comes more awareness.
yes,
The anxiety state, which is the opposite of the calm state, although it's not doesn't necessarily need to be the spectrum. And I'm, for example, a person who does I don't exact I've never identified as having anxiety. I'm not an anxious person. I can be an agitated person. I can have negative emotion. I can feel stressed out. I can just be in an unaware state of like I'm just kind of all what am I doing? I don't know. I gotta go here, gotta go there. But I don't feel it as anxiety. So there's a whole spectrum of stuff that's at the opposite end of calm. But as you narrow into calm, those states are focused on what they're focused on. If I have anxious thoughts, it's about something. I'm anxious because tomorrow I have this interview and I got to prepare for the interview and I don't know what shoes am I going to wear. I thought these were good, but now I think there's a stuff on them and I don't know. Should I take them to get a new, maybe go to get a new pair of shoes, but I don't really have time for that. So just focusing on I have this interview and that's what I'm worried about. The calm state is just focused on what's going on, observing. There's that interview thing happening tomorrow. There's also all this other stuff going on. And I'm not reacting to it because I'm just in a space of calm, observing. I can take action from calm, but I can't find calm through action. I find calm through ceasing that action, including mental activity. And then awareness expands. And from expanded awareness, again, now I have agency and choice of where I want my attention and my energy to go.
you just zoned me right out,
Thank you.
which is the point. This is the point of today's talk. Um, yeah, today we're on Saying Sane, the podcast about staying sane in our crazy times. We're talking about how to stay relaxed, how to pursue relaxation, and even by our own definition, it is something you never you're never the perfect relaxer. You can always do better. You can always find calmer. And what's interesting is that there's a wonderful. This is where actually YouTube and social media actually excels, because there's all these other people that are facing similar challenges that are finding techniques, and that you may find, like, for example, when I first heard about havening, I was like, that's ridiculous. But then I tried it and I was like, that's good. Same
Oh,
same
I
thing.
love it.
Same thing with tapping. A lot of people hear about tapping and they're like, that's the stupidest thing I've ever heard. But try
New
it.
world, baby.
And I would say the same thing with more of these new breathwork styles. People are like, why would I heavy breathe for 10 minutes? What's that going to do for me? It is fantastic. You can actually produce potent, profound, chemically induced calming states that will
Natural
relax
chemicals.
with natural chemicals. That's
Chemicals
right.
that are coming from your mind.
Yeah.
Great.
So all these things are kind of there's a whole bunch of them, and there's more all the time. And we think the granddaddy or grandmother of all these, of course, is trance, because trance is the ultimate parasympathetic state, the calm, relaxed state of deep focus, where you're not focusing on a million things. You're usually focusing on one, and you're going to deep and profound calm. And that's why hypnotherapy is there, or hypnosis is there, or self hypnosis is there as the kind of background fundamental. And then there's all these different techniques that are complementary. I hope that makes sense.
Absolutely. Yes. I'm going to close my contribution to our conversation today with the empowering reminder that choice, you always have choice. And if you choose, I'm going to do something relaxing just for 1 minute right now, you're serving yourself and you can feel good about yourself. And you can springboard off of it. I'm proud of myself because I've taken care of myself. Do it again later and do it again tomorrow. And maybe instead of a minute, now you're going up to 2 minutes. And now you're like, let me look into that havening thing they talked about. I didn't want it to be good, but it turns out it is good. Let me look into some of that other stuff. Let me go rogue and just Google strategies for deeper relaxation. Maybe find some self hypnosis things on YouTube, or get into it. Starts with choice. Choose to be calm.
Choose to be calm. And I would add one other thing, which is a reminder that it's not like you're gonna you're going to end this quest. It is something that you chase your entire life, and it
A
just gets.
calm chase is different from a frantic chase.
That's right, and you get better and better at it, and the results improve. So stay calm, friends. Stay awesome, but also stay calm.
And stay sane.
That's right. But you know, you'll stay sane as a result of staying calm and
Precisely.
relaxed. Right.
Precisely. Thank you for everyone who's joined
Thank
us
you.
on YouTube, on Instagram. Find us again next week at this same time on a Tuesday. And bye.